Hello and welcome to the last edition of Series 2. It's gone incredibly quickly. I can't believe it, but I'm absolutely delighted to be in a brand new clubhouse. We previously have done Royal Dornoch, and I'm fascinated, having built some new clubhouses and been involved with new clubhouses. This one definitely took my attention, and I'm here at Basingstoke with the general manager, David Green. David, thank you for hosting today.
Welcome.
No,
It's great.
you're actually probably my first customer for Wine and Earth. We put something out on Golf Business News, and you saw it,
That's right.
and you said, "Well, I love the sustainability side of what you're doing. Can you come and see me?" And I was like, "Yeah, where is it?" I was straight there the next day, and you were building. Really, you were
Yeah.
putting, 9 holes were almost ready. It was a building site all over the place, but it was fascinating to see. And that was September. No, that was July 2024, and now we're sat here just before Christmas 2025, and we're sitting in this amazing ballroom.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was when you send that post out on Golf News, it was an ideal situation because we wanted to try and get our wines to grow. We didn't really have a connection with the wine industry at all, and with the project that we've undertaken and the building we've got, we wanted to establish a quality wine list. So your timing was perfect.
Yeah, great for me. Having started off, got me off nicely. Yeah, actually, as we all know, we start with wine, and Gusbourne, our wine partner, have provided a lovely wine for us to taste today. It's a Blanc de Blanc, so it's 100% Chardonnay from their Kent vineyard, 2019. So it's got a bit of age, sort of 6 years. I think it's one of their nicest wines. I'm a big fan of Blanc de Blanc. Normally there's a blend of grapes, but a Blanc de Blanc for me is just shows off Chardonnay as it should be. See what you think. And as we've noticed before, we're in wine glasses rather than flutes.
Yeah.
Just so that you really get that flavour. This has been in our glasses for probably about 5 minutes, and I bet you'll notice the difference from the little slurp out before. So see what you think.
That's lovely. Really smooth.
Yeah.
Really smooth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice one to have.
And you don't get hit with the dryness of the bubbles quite as much with those.
And there's no real cotton wool taste either.
No.
It's just very, but it's long lasting on
Yeah, this is lovely.
Yeah,
Really.
couldn't aftertaste. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we always ask our guests for a wine store. So what's your wine store? You're a red man, really.
I'm more of a red man. Yeah, I am. And I think it's probably, everybody has their wine stories, especially from their youth and when they've grown up, in their, drinking with their parents and everything else. And, my father was heavily into his red wine. So I kind of, I suppose, gravitated towards red wine. But, the story I have is in 2021, the family, we went out to South Africa. The long story behind that was I saved somebody's life, and the person that I saved, his family paid for us to go to South Africa. He was a South African man.
It was love.
He was having a cardiac arrest in my pro shop.
Wow.
So defibrillator and brought him back.
What year was this?
So this would have been 2019 when it happened.
Right, okay.
COVID came.
Glad we chose the 2009.
It's absolutely, almost that.
Yeah.
Almost that. There's weird links that you have with golf and everything that goes with it. So we were in Hermanus and went to a wine estate called Benguela Grove. Cove, sorry, which is linked to Manning's Heath Golf Club.
Absolutely.
Which I had no idea about. So we were in this wine estate. My oldest would have been 15, coming up to 16. Never really experienced wine, so we took them in. They showed us around the estate. We went out to the vineyards and wandered around, and they had this Pinot Noir that they were shouting about at the time. And we did a bit of tasting with the various different wines that they had, and we had lunch there as well. And it was it was just a bizarre situation as I was talking to the people within it, saying that they are linked to Manning's Heath. When I was a player, I used to have lessons with Clive Tucker at Manning's Heath.
Yeah.
So it's just weird how things kind of go full circle. But we had lunch. I got quite excited with the Pinot Noir and had a bit of fun with that. And it was the introduction to my oldest son with a bit of wine as well. And now he's kind of got the flavour. And for an 18-year-old who comes home from university and says, right, when we open in the wine, it's quite nice. It's lovely to have that. So that was a brilliant element of our holiday, and actually just the links it created through golf and the weird circles that we move in golf, of how all of a sudden you stumble across something so far away from home, And the other part of that trip was we were staying in Cape Town and on the waterfront. Unbeknownst to me, the first stop of the wine train was right outside our hotel.
Up there.
I only discovered this on our last night there. So that was it. I missed it, but great trip and memorable occasion at the wine estate. It was just
they are beautiful wines. We Wine on Earth have them there with their sole distributor.
Oh, fantastic!
And they do have some beautiful wines. They have a lighthouse wine, which, funny enough, we showed to Turnberry, so you never know. You might see that in Turnberry for next year.
Okay,
quite interesting.
Excellent. Yeah,
but they are really good wines. And have you tried the wines at Manning's Heath as well?
No, I haven't. I haven't had.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad at all. Yeah, they're same winemaker, and they produce a nice drop, as I say. Yeah, very good.
I was impressed.
Yeah, that was a good story. Good story. So you were a young professional, and obviously in Kent, and you started at Prince's first.
That's right.
Who was the head professional then?
So, I mean, I spent my junior time at Prince's as well. Yeah. So, I learnt my golf with Phil Sparks. Sparky was brilliant. Yeah. He got me really into it when I was 9 years old, so a long time ago now. And I just kind of progressed through golf, playing other sports as well. So golf wasn't really the sport I wanted to play. I was really more into my rugby and cricket than the golf. So I really found golf properly when I was 16. And at that point, Phil had just left the club and his assistant, Chris Evans, took over. So the opportunity then came. I just completed my GCSEs, about to embark on my A-levels. And he said to me, do you want to work in golf? And I thought, yeah. I wanted to be involved in sport in some way or other anyway. And I kind of got the bug for golf when I was probably 15 and just carried on going and just got better and better at it. And off the back of that, I went into golf and, thought I'd made it at 16 as a golf pro and, whatever. Had some real harsh realizations very quickly. Chris shaped me up very nicely. I think, I turned pro at 18 at Prince's, and I've never really looked back. It's been a brilliant career. I've thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. It's not a bad career to have, is it? It's not a bad industry to be in as well. You always, and certainly Prince's is and they just won an award at the Golf Course Awards on last Thursday. Absolutely. So they continue to invest and they continue to push the boundaries across not only the golf course but also the hospitality sides of things as well. Yeah, they do. I think Robert, Mick McGurk's oldest son has done a brilliant job there. Has been really keen to develop and keep developing and not really stood still. And it's been good to see. And the work that they've done with Mackenzie and Hebert there and developing that golf course as well. Like, they are. Yeah, absolutely. Which is testament to the hard work, I think, and also to the work they've done on the golf course. Yeah, it's brilliant. It is brilliant, and it's great to watch my old home evolve like it was, and it's still going and still getting better. Yeah, no, it's really good. And then you went to Tanbridge. How did that come about? Because I mean, it's not that far away, but it's sort of away from where, if you grew up in that part of the world, it's moving away from home, isn't it? Yeah, it is. That was my first step away really from home. I lived in Sandwich Bay and in Sandwich for a number of years with my family, and I did all my training at Prince's. I got qualified at Prince's. I started playing full time out of there, and then Chris Evans then became head pro at Tandridge and left Prince's, and asked me whether I wanted to come and work with him up there. So that's kind of how the move happened. Lovely private members golf club.
Good golf course.
Great golf course.
Yeah.
Harry Colt design. And it was a really good 6 years that I had there, and the members were brilliant. It allowed me to ply my trade and learn how to be a golf pro really at that golf club. So Prince's gave me the opportunity, and Tandridge really sort of shaped the start.
Have you done your PGA qualifications through Prince's and Tandridge, or was it just?
No, just at Prince's. So
right.
yeah,
So you qualified when you were at Tandridge. You've done all those qualifications.
Yeah, I had. So I turned pro at 18, and I was qualified before I was 21.
Right.
Okay. And then I went off and tried to play for a little while, and that was a lot of fun, but self-funding, that was a challenge, and it was an expensive way of trying to live life. So so when the opportunity came at Tandridge, it was a bit of a no-brainer really, and actually start to get involved in the industry a bit more. And whilst I'd love to have continued playing, realism probably wasn't quite good enough.
And obviously from where you are now, was there always, obviously you'd had a go at trying to play,
yeah,
but were you teaching a lot then, or were you more interested in how the whole business of golf was running, or was it still that stage like, let's look at the golf side?
Yeah, when I got to Tandridge, I was still keen to play, so I was still playing tournament golf, and Chris was very good with that, and it allowed me then to coach a bit, and while I was head assistant at the golf club, I was given a bit of flexibility to continue to flourish with my career a little bit, and maybe being a bit selfish, but in the industry you need to be a little bit to succeed. And so I carried on playing and coaching, but as I started to find my feet within what I wanted to do, I slowly moved a bit more towards the business side of it, and started looking at the retail element, and started helping support Chris more with running of his golf shop, and found quite an interest in that side of it as well. So I think when you go through that traditional golf club role of being a golf pro, and you're a coach, you're a player, you're a retailer, you're a club repairer, you're a tournament administrator, all those things give you a really great rounded training ground.
I always look back at my time working as a tournament controller for the South region and running one-day pro-ams. It was like running mini businesses every day. You're dealing with sponsorships, you're dealing with golf professionals, you're dealing with greenkeepers, you're dealing with prize money, you're dealing with public speaking. There was so much as, I was 22, 23, and you learn so much from that opportunity to be in that environment. And I loved it. It was great. I think when you look at clubs and you look at golf in general, the number of industries that you have to deal with, like I'm thinking now, how many industries come across your desk when building a clubhouse, to cutting the greens, to understanding what you need for a driving range, everything else. We'll go on to that later. But in branding and advertising, there's so many industries that you as a manager have to not be an expert in, but understand and have an opinion and be able to ask those questions of the professionals who are in charge of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, the world of golf gives us that broader opportunity. I think having been involved as a PGA pro, and still am as a PGA pro, it teaches you to interact with people. It teaches you, when you're coaching, empathy and working with the skill sets that you've got that's standing in front of you that wants to learn the game. But I think the key element is the people skills it gives you as well, and being able to just talk to various different people, understand who's standing in front of you, how you direct your conversations with those people. And I think that's quite a valuable learning, really. And I think from a PGA perspective, PGA members that want to become general managers or director of golf, or senior operators within golf, don't jump in quickly. Learn, understand the industry that we're in, because it's a great industry to work in. It's hard work, and you've got to work incredibly hard to get there. But the more experience you gain, the better and easier the job becomes, because you just understand people. People are so key to this industry we're in.
And the beauty is sometimes you've got 4 hours on the golf course with it.
Yeah.
And you really, I used to be a sponge with that. The opportunity to play with some of the people I played with, it's just been incredible learning from them. And then going, I'll take that nugget and take that nugget. Oh, and so said this to me one, and in that particular experience, then you can deliver either an opinion or a decision, certainly in a GM's perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The amount of people, various people you meet in different worlds, different walks of life, who've turned out to be great friends, playing in pro-ams with people that you've never met, and all of a sudden, okay, hit it off with these guys.
And again, that happens a lot after, if you're going away with them, playing away in pro-ams, having meals and drinking glasses of wine with them. That's the beauty of golf. Unlike any other sport, you're competing hard, and even with your teammates, you're having to run around and you can't really talk. Golf, you've got the opportunity to talk and listen, and then enjoy each other's company and really understand that person. When I remember at Loch Lomond, Lyle Anderson said to me, "We chose you because you're the golf guy, and I want you to mingle with the members." And we set up this the GM putter. And it was getting 2 members to play with the director of golf and myself most Fridays. And we put it out there to the membership, and they loved it. The opportunity to play with us, probably more to understand what was happening with the club and, have their opinion, but also alpha males who wanted to win. That's the majority at the time. But the beauty of that was then afterwards having a drink with them. So you're probably in total kind of 5 hours. And most of our members weren't regularly at the club. It wasn't that type of place. So when they came up next time, you had much more of a rapport of saying, "Well, how's your wife? How's the family? How was your holiday? Oh, congratulations on the latest business achievement," whatever it was, rather than walking past and going, "Hello, Mr. Smith, how are you?"
Yes, absolutely.
You felt like the members felt that you cared, and there was a little bit more empathy, and they could ask you a lot more, which often they did.
Yes, of course they did, absolutely. And I think that from this project that we've done for the last 2 years, but certainly I've been involved in the last 2 years, that bit I've missed a little bit. And, having been stuck almost in the office and working with contractors and various professions, my interaction with the membership has been less so than I'd like to. So, next year is a year where I really need to start to get out and spend more time with the members, and I think that opportunity will rise.
Comes on to a good point, it's so you're at Tandred, but then a couple of times before you've done you've done a lot, but there was 2 occasions that I looked in your profile that you kind of worked for yourself.
Yeah.
And working for yourself, I always think is very important when choosing somebody to run a project, because you understand the importance of money, because it's your money you're spending.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you think that helps when you have that? Oh, hold on a minute. What is value for money? And if it was my money, would I spend it?
Yeah, it definitely helped. I mean, the two experiences of Crowhurst and the Wilderness were brilliant. I mean, in the sense of the 2 lovely clubs, running your own business was hard. And I think, as golf pros, as retailers, continue working in that particular world, it's not an easy world to work in. And, I think in those 13, 14 years that I was doing it for myself, I made a lot of mistakes, found myself in sometimes financial struggles. How do we get out of this? Working hard to try and find solutions to problems. And, you are always on the go with running your own business and running your own enterprise within a private members golf club. That's one of the harder things, is that you are such an insular business, and if clubs aren't open to allowing you to be bringing that outside business in, you are only reliant upon a very small marketplace. So those challenges were quite interesting, to try and reinvent yourself every so often, to try and improve and open up your business more. What can we do to try and generate more cash? So yeah, the management of my own business has certainly helped me see how to run a business, how to take care of the money, how to look after the costs. cash is always king, and it's a thing that you hear a lot of, but actually it's massive. It's, if you haven't got it, you can't do anything with it. So those 14 years certainly gave me a great grounding. It allowed me to understand accounting a lot better, operating P&Ls and balance sheets, and you're just looking at performance of business. And I think as technology's evolved as well, that assists a lot of businesses now to be able to see their business at a snapshot very quickly. And when I was starting out, those sort of things weren't available. A lot of it was bookkeeping and managing through actual physical books, as opposed to the softwares we have nowadays.
And the other, we spoke to Simon Wordsworth and 59 Club, and data. Once you can actually analyze what is actually happening,
absolutely,
that makes a huge difference in decision making, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. We've recently done a survey here for our members on our F&B, just to try and understand what they're looking for, what we're doing well, what we could do better, and that data, with working with 59 Club, allows us to see actually how well we're doing in relation to other 59 golf clubs as well. And that's been a really great element of what we do with 59 Club. But data itself is massive. It allows us to manage the business properly and understand the right direction. It does, absolutely.
Not hearsay. It's not four guys on the corner going, "Oh, well, we think."
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what it is. It's like, well, no, actually, this is what it is, because this is it's not a snapshot. It's overall, and it's generated through these sources. So I can tell you this is what's happening.
Absolutely. And one of the hardest things with this business right now is since we set the new company up to operate the golf club back in October last year, it's a new startup. It's a startup company trying to understand our cost base and our revenues. So we haven't got the data to be able to deliver this business at the moment. We're working very much on the guesswork and estimates, and yes, we're working very hard to make sure we're close to those estimates and guesses, of which we have been. But it's when you haven't got the historical data to work with, that also is a huge challenge.
Yeah. Before we move on to Basingstoke, I saw that you also sat on you were vice chair of the PGA South region. What made you do that? And did you, again, is that part of your learning curve where you had more of an understanding of what was happening in more clubs and also picking up different ideas?
Yeah, I think I got involved in it when I was at the Wilderness, and I was asked to be captain of Kent PGA for a year, which was a great privilege to be able to do that, and gradually sort of worked my way to being into the regional committee as well. And the reason I wanted to do it was I wanted to have a better insight into what the PGA were doing for our PGA members and how I could support it, and B, just to help broaden my learning really and education around the industry. I think looking at it from a PGA, when I was sitting on that committee, one of the things that allowed me or helped me actually see and understand what other PGA pros were experiencing. So it wasn't so much about the clubs, it was more about what the PGA pros were experiencing within their clubs and the challenges they may have at their particular golf club, and how they are either perceived by the golf club or the business challenges because the membership's not big enough, or they maybe directed their business in the wrong way and therefore they've got a bit of conflict with the board. So it was quite an eye-opener to see how golf pros were being looked at by golf clubs. And what that allowed me to really see and reflect on when I came off the committee, and it was during the COVID period when I sort of stepped away and moved, left Wilderness. I was there, not working for a year, and it allowed me to sort of reflect on all these various things that I'd seen in my career up to that point. And the PGA committee element allowed me to think about, I wanted to go into golf club management and operations. I've always enjoyed that. But what it allowed me to see was how golf clubs perceive the golf professional. And when I go into the operational side of it, I want to make sure that the golf professionals that work under me or with me are perceived as assets to the business and a valuable tool to the business, and are used in the right way to ensure member enjoyment and member retention and making sure that they're part of it, whilst they may well have been that traditional golf club, golf pro relationship where the golf pro is that separate entity. So many golf clubs see that golf pro as the separate entity and therefore just push them away and allow them to just get on with it. And there's no cohesion to the golf pro golf club relationship. And the golf pro thinks he's doing the right thing and the golf club think they're doing the right thing, and there's no meeting in the middle. So that just really allowed me to think, actually, we need to make sure that whoever I work with in the future, a golf pro is brought in, they're part of it, they understand it, they understand the challenges that the whole golf club's seeing, but they also understand the direction we're trying to move in and do it together. And I think
are you still involved with the PGA, but this time now more on a national perspective? Is that right?
I'm helping with the PGA managers side of it.
Okay. So
Simon Fitton, who works for the PGA, but also runs a couple of his golf courses in the east side of the country. He sort of reach out to some of the golf club managers, say, we want to put 4 of them together just to discuss how we can help support future golf club managers in the PGA and stuff. So it's a bit of a forum that I help support with, and it's been quite good. It's helped support a little bit more and just sort of throw ideas around the dozen or so people. And actually Simon's one of them that sits on it every so often.
Very good.
So it's good.
So Basingstoke, for those of our listeners and yours who are not aware, can you just give us the history of where it's come from, and from where it was to where we are today, and why you were interested in the position?
Yeah, so Basingstoke at his old site, Kempshire Park, had been on the sort of the town plan for new building for quite a long time. So it originally was sort of spoken about in the mid-80s. I think it eventually got onto the town plan in the 90s. It was close to being sold in the late 90s, I believe, to Charles Church before his accident. And then there's been the odd rumblings in the 2000s about whether we're going to sell or not. And eventually we got to 2018. Blue Homes showed quite an interest in the space, and the club eventually voted on, yes, let's go for it and move. The original offer from Blue Homes was far greater prior to COVID. COVID impacted that, and they came back with another offer, of which the club still considered it and went forwards with it. So they sold the club in 2021 and moved home.
So for how much, or you rather not?
Let's keep that a secret,
but it was
a substantial amount. Yeah, I mean, we invested 20 million of the proceeds into this build. So I'm sure it's in the commonplace out there somewhere online, but it was a lot of money that they had, and enough to be able to allow us to distribute surplus to the members, of which they got a significant windfall from. So yeah, it was a decent amount of money, and yeah, so we the club, prior to coming across onto the old Dummer site, had identified 2 or 3 golf courses in the local area to see if they could buy into that golf course. They felt that they wanted to continue providing golf opportunity to Basingstoke members as opposed to just distributing all the money out to the membership. And eventually came up with Dummer as being the location for them. It was only a mile down the road from the other entrance of the golf course across the M3. At the nearest point, we're 140 metres apart. So it felt like the right thing. We moved from a clay site to a chalk site. So, all those things are real positives. And yeah, we started to break ground in June 2022.
And course designer?
Our course designer is Bruce Weller.
Okay.
And weirdly, before I started in the interview process, when I asked about the course architect, and I said Bruce Weller. I had to go and research. I think I'll find out who Bruce was. Lovely guy, really good guy, knows his stuff, and has done a brilliant job of this golf course. He's designed a fabulous golf course. Not normally probably his thing to build a whole golf course. He's much more involved in the changes, tweaks, redesigns a few holes. But him and his twin brother have done a brilliant job of this out there.
Yeah, certainly have. I lucky enough to play 9 holes in the summer, and some really nice holes out there. And we'll come on to that a bit later. But it's definitely I think with your location and what you've put into place, and it's not just the golf course; it's got a driving range as well that we'll come on to. You've got enough areas for a really nice putting green and chipping area and that kind of stuff, and obviously a magnificent clubhouse as well.
Yeah,
which really is the ideal opportunity from a community perspective as well, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so you personally, how did you get to know about the project, and what made you go for it, and what made you feel that you could deliver?
Yeah, so I hadn't really heard about the project at all. I don't think anybody had really heard about it until Scott Patience, who was the golf club consultant at the time. He'd been brought in to try and help support the project and the delivery. He'd put an advert out with CMAE and GCMA on, Basingstoke we need a new general manager. He was kind of acting GM, if you like, at the time, but didn't really have the time to fulfill that role. He was more involved in project delivery. So when I looked at it, I thought, wow, that looks quite interesting. And at the time I was working at Bramshaw and Poltons, and it meant it was about 30 miles nearer home. Okay. So I didn't, I still commute now from Tunbridge to Basingstoke, so it's quite a long commute, but going down to the New Forest was even more so. Yeah. So that was a nice advantage, but actually really the wider part of that was, looking at a project where they're investing £20 million, they're building a new golf course, new buildings, facilities, an opportunity to finish it, open a new golf course, liquidate an old company, set a new company up, just a whole load of things that needed to be done to deliver what we've got now.
Needed all your experience, but all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a hell of a lot on your plate.
There was a lot there, and that was the real attraction. Really, was all the bits that came with it. Wasn't that much of the big attraction. Really was about finishing the project, opening up a new golf course. Yeah. I don't think many people get that opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we're going to say. That's why I wanted you to come on the podcast, because there's not that many opportunities. There may be in the future, with housing developments as they are and whatever. But, currently, very, very few people have this opportunity to do this in this country. So
no, absolutely. I feel privileged to have done it, and still within it to continue that delivery. And, I think going through the interview process, it was a really thorough interview process that the club and Scott Patience went through, and I was really keen to get the job, but also had a level of realism that there are a lot of good guys out there trying to get the job. So, that was when I got the phone call to say, we'd like you to come and do it for us, I jumped at it. Yeah. So just,
Again, one of the reasons why I asked you about having your own business, for me, dealing with a project, kind of being a project manager as well, you need to understand commercialization, and also how money is spent.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a very key point, because you could get carried away with what we want, but actually what can we afford, and how do we deliver that as well, and within fluctuating prices as well, certainly coming out of COVID and the world we live in, with all sorts of things that have changed since COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the for this project especially, the club put a cap on the project at 20 million, and that sounds a lot of money, but weirdly it doesn't go very far when you're doing what we've done. And that cap was set in stone in 2021. So we hadn't put into or the club hadn't put in consideration any inflationary increases or material changes or anything like that. It was set at 20 million. So as the budgets all of a sudden started to get eroded away by cost increase, we had to look at how we delivered this project within budget by maybe going into slightly different directions, so having to cost save in certain areas. So we weren't going to be as grand as we maybe wanted to be. There was going to be an undercroft in the clubhouse, so that would have been where the changing rooms and the plant room and all the various functioning elements of the clubhouse would have been located, which would have given us a far greater floor space as we have now. But that undercroft was going to be very expensive. So, these little things we've had to tweak and change and take out, various elements of the golf course adjustments as well, just to make sure we deliver within that £20 million budget. So I mean, I think my learnings over the years, by seeing various different types of golf clubs, private members clubs to corporate golf clubs in what I was looking after down at Poltons and Bramshaw, looking after it for the asset company, proprietary owned golf courses are run by a council. All those various things just helped me feel that the experience I had to offer to Basingstoke was really, really high.
What's been the hardest part of this delivering an opening?
The hardest part of it has probably been the length of time it's taken to get us where we are now. I had a sort of picture in my mind. There's a lot of architect drawings and everything that we could see of where we're going to get to, and we're still finishing parts of it now, so we're not quite yet finished. But it's taken quite a long time to get there.
Because you said when we played golf like just 2 or 3 weeks ago, finally we got the builders off.
Yes,
and you think, well, you might live in September 2024.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think a lot of people think that is, we've opened the door, so it's done.
Yeah, I think the hard part is that when the club embarked upon the change, and this was way before my time, that Bruce Weller had said to the club, we'll keep the course open for you to play it while we're developing it. And they grabbed hold of that and thought, right, we can do this. And I think hindsight is a wonderful thing. And if the club had actually just been a bit more patient and said, actually, members, we'll look after you with giving you, well, they did. They gave get golfing points to the membership so that they could go and play at the various golfing venues. But just to say, we're going to shut the whole site down and redevelop it and come back when it's ready, that would have been, I think that would have shortened the time period. Certain, it probably would have saved a bit of money as well. Yeah. And I guess that's probably been the biggest challenge / the hardest part of it, is just managing the membership.
Expectations.
I
wouldn't buy Augusta. This is what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
Spend 20 million quid. Come on.
Absolutely, expectation. But I think they've been the heartwarming part of the member involvement is they've been so passionate about this, and therefore. Their involvement has been really, really great. Almost maybe a bit too much sometimes, but that's just the nature of a members' golf club. It's their golf club. They want it to be delivered in a way they want it, and I need to step back and allow that to happen a bit, because it is what they've embarked on, and it is theirs, and I have to be very mindful of the fact that what we're trying to deliver is as a members' golf club, a completely different golf club to what the old Dummer Golf Club was, or the old Basingstoke Golf Club was, but nonetheless, it is their club, and we need to make sure that we do that for them.
And I think the other thing, just because of the proximity of the M3 as well, and it's come up a lot in the podcasts, is the word community.
Yes,
I think I read something on LinkedIn the other day that the importance of golf clubs going forward will be of the community, that you have an excellent, certainly here you have an excellent food and beverage opportunity and facility, and to encourage people to come in and use that. Again, the terrace in the summer is wonderful.
Lovely.
And more golf courses are building that. You have the foresight to build it, because that's what everybody wanted in the pandemic. So of course we're going to have all of those.
Yeah,
but it's encouraging people to come in and use it for different reasons. And it doesn't really impact necessarily on the golf course, but it keeps the club, if you like, bringing in much required revenue.
Yeah, it does. And it's trying to strike the balance of member impact to outsiders coming to use it. And, we're very, we've got great space. We're very fortunate with the spaces that we have, that we can separate our golfers to our non-golfers using the function facilities. And part of our planning consents to this property was to involve the community a bit more and make it more accessible to the community. So the local village in Dummer we want to get them more involved in the golf club. So as soon as we've got this facility complete and finished, we'll then start to have a strategy put in place to start to open up to that local community. We've already started to market ourselves in the local area, but I don't want to expose it properly until we've got it complete, and also trying to just get the balance of member non-member usage, trying to get that right as well, because so often it's been the board and myself have been sort of tarnished with, you're making this very corporate, and there's definitely not the requirement. We're not making this corporate. We're running it as a business. We have to run it as a business with the, we'll have probably in 12 months' time a £2.5 million turnover. So you've got to take it seriously and you've got to manage it properly. Our costs are high, so we've got to manage that. So we can't be seen to not manage it like a business. Yeah. At the same time, also not trying to deliver it as a corporate. It's not a corporate space. We want to make this a lifestyle. It is, absolutely. We want to make it a lifestyle place. We want people to come here and use it as, their breakfast, coffee shop, their lunchtime meeting place maybe, or even late afternoon teas and evening meals. So,
yeah, exactly. It's sort of lovely. You can sit on that patio looking out at the view. A lovely summer's evening for just I've come with Mrs. Flanagan and gladly have. I've tried the food and obviously the wine's amazing because it's from Wine and Earth.
Spectacular.
It's a lovely place to be.
It is, and there isn't a greater place to sit than out on our terrace. It is stunning in the summertime, and many members have said, that's been the best addition to our golf club is that terrace. And when the furniture arrived in June, people were, what's it going to look like? And sitting out there is spectacular.
The one bit that's not quite open yet is the driving range.
Yeah.
Is that going to be for community? Is like non-members being able to use that, or is it just?
No, so it's member focus only. So one of the initial questions I was asked when I first started was, are we going to the driving range, having run driving ranges in the past, are we going to commercialise it? Can we commercialise it? And my view is no, we shouldn't and couldn't, because it's too small. We've only got 10 indoor bays and 5 outdoor. And to commercialise a 10-bay driving range is going to be impossible. You're going to then impact your member usage. Yeah. So when we open in May, hopefully, as long as everything goes to plan, then we will open it to the members. And any golfer that's coming to use the facility will obviously have access to the range. And we want to see them really the usage of the range before we start to semi-commercialise it. So the likelihood is we'll open it up to a sort of practice membership, if you like. So local community will be able to use it on a member basis, but they'll gain the member benefit at the same time.
And that brings in social and food and beverage as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it'll allow us actually to cater for our waiting list as well. So, if we feel that the waiting list is extending and there's a long waiting time, then again, that will then maybe help us. Yeah, it will, absolutely.
And obviously you also for juniors.
The juniors are desperate for something. We had 6 juniors at the beginning of this year. Now we've got 60.
Wow.
So that's been amazing, real positive part to our membership change.
And a big part of that, obviously, you had a Walker Cup player as well. This is fantastic.
Yeah, Charlie's definitely made a big difference. I mean, he's been fantastic this year when we've been able to see him when he's not been travelling stuff. So, seeing him play in the Walker Cup, the members were really excited by that, and it was great. I think he had a great week at Cyprus. They just came up against a really tough American team. Yeah, really tough team.
Yeah, and a great venue as well.
Talking to him about his experiences were.
Won't forget that.
No, absolutely. And there's a picture of him stood chatting with George W. Bush. That's those sort of things you don't get to meet American presidents very often. And they had dinner at Ian Poulter's house as well. So Poulter looked after them there. So he had so many great experiences that week. So it was nice.
But a great thing for the club, but also for future members, from the junior perspective, I remember that, and I can follow that goal. If he did it, I can do it.
Absolutely. Well, he brought back a signed flag from all the players for the Walker Cup.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have that prominently put in our clubhouse. And he's very keen to interact with the juniors. So the more that we can get him here and doing that, but now he's on his travels trying to earn a living at it as opposed to doing it as an amateur.
That's hard.
Yeah, very tough. Very tough.
Yeah.
I think he's got a bit more talent than I do.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. So obvious question really is, but would you have done anything differently now looking back? And do you feel that you worked well with the board, and were you given a lot of autonomy to be able to make those decisions that you probably had to in those key moments where, are we doing this, or are we doing this, but what are we doing?
Yeah. I think the different thing would have been having the course open to members and not. I would have for certain closed it in its entirety. It would have just helped us deliver it easier. Of course there would have been challenges in financial turnover and revenue coming into the golf club because there wouldn't have been any. But we just sold our old golf course for a lot of money, so we wouldn't have been in any financial challenges from that perspective. So I think that would have probably been the change that I would have made to the project. I don't think I'd have done anything differently in that sense, other than that. And I've had two boards to work with since taking on the role. So, the original board under the old company were really, really good. And within the way the club had set up the project, they had various little working parties to deliver either the golf course or the buildings or the whole project itself. So sort of 3 or 4 working parties. So there was decision making that was done by the members, albeit in small groups, with the contractors, being steered by the contractors and myself involved in it, and Scott Patience, who was consulting with us as well. So it did allow me to be a bit more involved in some of the shaping of the delivery and the finishes of the golf club. With the golf course itself, there were a few aspects of the golf course that I didn't quite like in the way it had been finished or was been, in the way it had been finished. The 14th, there'd been some artificial mounds put in which weren't part of the plans, so we got those removed. The 9th fairway didn't have any drainage in it, so I questioned it, why we not got it, don't know. So let's get it in there. We've drained the whole golf course but one fairway. So there were some bits that we got to change and improve. And then within the clubhouse, certain layouts and finishes of the internal structure of the clubhouse was tweaked a little bit to allow me to have a bit more influence over that. So I had some influence. I've probably had more influence since the new board have come in the sense that the old company was liquidated, new board came in, project was then seen as almost finished, and the funds came over to the new company just from a finishing aspect more than anything else. And I've had probably a lot more autonomy on decision making whilst keeping the board informed and various people. But it's allowed me just to get on and make sure the project gets finished, following the guide of how the club and the members wanted it to
be. Governance,
absolutely,
sort of association.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's been, that side of it's been really quite interesting. Just stuff that I've never done before, from making a company liquidate, and then setting a new company up, new governance structure. That's been a real.
But great experience to have, great to have that when, whatever happens in the future, you just keep backing those ideas and those experiences up.
Absolutely. And I think, this scenario, I think, will happen more and more as we go through over the next 10 years. I think you'll see more houses built on golf courses.
And they'll have money, and where do we go and what do we do?
Absolutely.
There's probably the first one I ever knew was Royal Norwich.
Well, we spent quite a bit of time, again, before my time, the club spent quite a bit of time visiting Royal Norwich and sort of understanding what they did and how they did it. They didn't get as much money as we did, but, they still did a redevelopment of a golf course and buildings, etc. And then Caversham Heath did it as well with Reading Golf Club. So I spent a bit of time over there when I first started with Gary Stango, the GM there. And that, again, just helped me sort of see certain things that Gary had done over there and talk to him about some of the challenges he'd met with the build that he'd done over at Caversham. So that kind of helped me just understand the various build processes that some of these places have gone. And obviously now Maidenhead are about to do it with Mill Ride. So
absolutely, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, very interesting. So again, looking in the future, you've got the great opportunity in 2027 to host the R&A Boys and Girls Championships. I know, talking with Neil Hampton at Dornoch, he was really looking forward to the Curtis Cup. Yeah, there's a real focus. Anything you can get from the R&A, you feel like everybody has to be focused on it, because it's such a. I think it's an award, isn't it? And I think there's so many people who would love to host anything from the governing body.
Yeah.
And what goes with it, and to have it so early in the club's tenure, I think is great. But also it comes with its challenges. You're barely out of build mode, and then you've got to provide what is a serious championship for potential Open champions to play.
I think I think that's been a real privilege to have been offered that, because
when was that?
We were offered that earlier this. When was it? Been back end of last year, early this year. And really a testament to what the golf club has done and what they've built. And I think that as a starting accolade for the club for its future and whatever is ahead of us has been brilliant for us. So, and it gives the team especially a focus to delivery, and I think that's allowed us now to think, right, we've got to come out of build mode. We've got to come into maintenance mode now. We've got to get the whole golf course grown in properly and make it, deliver.
Got a new course manager now as well.
We have, yeah. So sadly, Scott, our previous course manager, has left and he's gone off to Hindhead, and we wish him well with that. And he's had a fantastic 9 years here with us for as course manager, and has done a brilliant job in the build process with his team. And now we're very excited to welcome Jake Field from Edgbaston Golf Club.
Okay.
And Jake will start with us on the 16th of February. We're really excited by his arrival.
A fresh pair of eyes. And again, a long enough time to understand the golf course, what it can do, go through another winter, drainage, and seeing how things pan out, and also definitions and fairway cuts and rough cuts and rough lines.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, going through the interview process and walking some of the holes with Jake, just sort of understanding his thought process was quite exciting. Seeing his viewpoints and from golf professional eyes as well, looking at what he's talking about, all kind of made sense. That with turf grass coming on board as our new agronomists.
Oh, right.
Their specialist is creeping bent greens, and therefore, we just felt actually that was a good move forwards for us, and that will help support Jake's arrival in February to help him sort of hit the ground running, if you like. And that's quite an exciting part for the golf club as well. And I think just with Turfgrass's experience through Ryder Cups and Solheim Cups and various golf clubs that they look after,
worldwide as well.
I mean, they are.
Yeah, they seem to be the companies to go to at the moment. That's for sure.
They seem to be.
Yeah,
seems to be. And the interaction I've had with them so far has been really quite good and quite exciting. And it's nice to see their enthusiasm within the golf course and the project we've undertaken. But I think now it's that maintenance part and getting the guys, the team have already started to get their mind into that maintenance element, albeit that they're without their leader at the moment for a couple of months. But being well supported by Turfgrass, and that's just helping them get ready for Jake's arrival and get their mindset into, right, we've got to now see the grass grow and get all the surfaces playing well. A
good opportunity for them to step up as well and show what they did.
Yeah, absolutely, it has been, and they've so far they've been great, and they've really got involved. And I've probably spent more time with them in the last few weeks than I have done in the last 2 years, just to make sure that they're happy in what they're doing. And they're all good lads.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. So yeah.
Fantastic. And then coming to the last, we always ask 2 questions. So you already had a lot of money, but if you had money given to you,
Yeah.
if you won the golf lottery, what would you spend the money on?
So my passion is links golf. I love links golf. Having grown up at Prince's and spent my time playing at Royal St George's and Singports, I've had a real fortunate sort of golf grounding, if you like. So I think I'd love to have my own links golf course. That'd be amazing. And the seaside for me it feels like home. And actually, you talk to my wife, she loves just sitting by the sea and stuff as well. So I think from a family perspective, it would be lovely just to get that fresh air and get back to sort of my golfing roots of links golf.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough to be at St Andrews for 7 years, and you kind of that sea air and being by the sea is quite magical. And before that, I was in Dubai, so I'd always be, for probably about an 11-year stretch, the sea was within walking distance pretty much. So it really is something special.
It is. So I think that's probably what I would look to do. I think everyone would say I own a golf course at the Money Pit, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I think it is, but
Won the lottery.
Absolutely, the experiences that we've got, and in having the fun, and while I look at the likes of Rob McGirt with what he does at Prince's, and he's very fortunate. Dad owns it, and he's got all those opportunities. But actually, slightly envious at the same time that he's got that to look after and play with, and But it's fantastic to be able to be involved in something like that.
And then, one round of golf left in your life. Where would you play, and with whom, and why?
Yeah, so I've referenced Prince's a lot, and I probably would be. It would probably go back to my home.
Okay.
Absolutely. You
could say one of the the 3 nines, or would you play the 27 holes?
Just go for that 27. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's so many great golf courses around the world, and I've never had an opportunity to go and play at Augusta or even walk around the fairways there. But I think when you come to home from home, that's really part of what I want to do. Absolutely. I've been fortunate to go and play around the world and stuff, but I think coming back,
the memories that you've got.
It is really, it's the memories. Yeah. Absolutely. And playing wise, who would I play with? I'd have my boys there.
Okay.
Certain. Yeah. They've been a big part of my life, a big part of a family, and watching them grow up.
Oh, now one's 18.
Yeah, so Zach's 18. He's at university now, and Ollie's 16, so he's just doing his GCSEs. Yeah. So they're big rugby cricketers as well, so they're kind of going through my world, my early door world. But got some good golf skills, so it'd be nice to have them out. I'd have Becky, my wife, on my bag.
Yeah.
She's got to be there. She's got to be there.
Yeah.
And then a very close friend of mine who sadly passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Kelvin. So he would be the 4-ball.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and he was a big part of. He was probably my inspiration in golf. Certainly in the latter part.
Was he a member, or was he?
So he was captain at Crimehurst. So he recruited me in at Crimehurst, and he and I just hit it off.
Yeah.
My boy's godfather, and sadly passed away just before I started here. So he'd have loved to see this. Member of Royal Blackheath as well. So he was a big part of my sort of sense checking, making sure I did the right things.
Soundboard, a mentor.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my 4-ball, and I think that would be a great 27 holes, and
nice way to go.
Definitely, absolutely, yeah. Go with a smile.
Yeah, fantastic. Maybe that was fantastic. I was going to top you up here, but this 2019 Gusbois, Blanc de Blanc. Fascinating. I think you've done a great job here. From the day I came in July 2024, and every time I come back, there's different steps that you've made. I think it's been a really exciting project. I do agree with you that I think these type of projects will happen more and more, and I think your experience and hopefully what others have gained on this podcast will encourage others to take on those projects as well. So, cheers. Well done.
Cheers, Tim.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, great fun.
And to everybody who's listening and watching, this closes series 2. It's gone very quickly. We've had some great guests. I'd like to thank all the guests that have come on board. And we look forward to Series 3, which there is going to be a Series 3, I'm pleased. We're working hard on it, and that will be launching around about the 1st of April. Time flies when you're having fun.